a medical condition which is thought to affect around 1 in 3,000 women. It means that she has 2 vaginas.
But Hazel's condition is even more complicated, making her 1 in a million. She's here to explain, along with Dr. Dawn Harper. And we read through this morning going, no, no, I mean, it is extraordinary. But for you, growing up, when you were little, you didn't spot it, and neither did your mum.
No, I didn't know I was any different whatsoever.
So as a little baby, changing nappies and things like that, you really cannot see this.
No, even now, I went through examinations as I was growing up because I had certain problems, and no one even saw it then.
Yeah.
But I guess in hindsight, when you look back, there were signs, weren't there?
Yes.
And the first time that you noticed any sort of problem ever was when your period started at the age of 14.
That wasn't fun.
That was not fun, was it? Because really, you were getting 2 separate periods.
Well, we should explain. They from one side than the other.
Yeah, we should explain before we get into that how you're built.
Yeah.
And how that works, because we've got to... Dawn, would you explain just here what this means?
Interestingly, when your uterus develops, when you're a baby in the womb, it starts as 2 tubes. And the normal thing to happen would be for those tubes to fuse, and then the septum breaks down and you form 1 uterus. What's happened with Hazel is that septum never broke down, and the 2 tubes have made 2 separate uteruses and 2 vaginas and 2 cervixes, which obviously has huge implications for you in terms of things like smear tests and so on.
Yeah.
And you mentioned 1 in 3,000. I think it is relatively common to still have a septum or a fibrous band within the uterus, or a slightly abnormal shape to the uterus. And that's the kind of thing that I might pick up on one of my patients who we might be doing an ultrasound, for example, for a completely unrelated problem, and it's just something that we find. To actually have 2 completely separate uteruses is much rarer, and as you say,
which is why we get into that moment of you're actually having, you could have 2 periods.
Yes. Well, yeah, I mean, we all ovulate left and right alternatively, like all other women, but obviously if you don't know which side you're ovulating from, and you didn't know that you had 2 sides, you can be...
You wouldn't understand why.
Sometimes you'd end up in a bit of a mess, and other times not.
Gosh, that must... I mean, at that age, when you're just starting your period anyway, and it's all a bit confusing, it's all a bit messy, and it's all a bit horrid, it must have been terrible for you.
It wasn't nice. I mean, I had friends, I'd try and explain to them having problems, and, you know, I'd say to them, they had no idea what I was doing wrong. They looked even more confused than I did.
Well, because you did ask one of your friends, didn't you? And
I did.
I'll get you to explain this, that you didn't... You were saying, well, which hole?
My more embarrassing story, is when I actually did ask a friend. I said, do you have any problem working out which hole to put in? She thought I was putting them up my bottom.
Oh, which of course was not the case at
No, nothing like that.
And very difficult for you then to go and approach someone else and talk to them about it.
I think I pretty much kept my mouth shut after that for quite a while.
So, at what stage did you become alerted to this? Because you hadn't noticed. You had a look occasionally. You checked yourself. You went to the doctor because of your heavy periods.
I was 18 before I found out.
And it was a boyfriend that says...
Yeah, my first serious boyfriend. He said there was something different about me. I was trying to broach subjects, you know, to do with my sex life, things like that, and he said, "Or maybe there's something wrong with you." He said, "I've always noticed there's this thing here," and I completely freaked out and went to go and check on it.